Ladies and gentlemen, every morning before you pick up your phone, before you scroll through the noise of the world, you must declare something over your life. Because the way you start your morning determines the strength of your day. The words you speak to yourself are seeds. You either plant faith or you plant fear. You either set the stage for victory or you open the door for defeat. When you rise, don't rise empty, rise full, rise intentional. Rise declaring to yourself the truth of who you are, the truth of who you were created to be. Don't wait on somebody else to speak life into you. Don't wait on validation from friends, followers, or strangers. You are responsible for commanding your morning, because if you don't, the morning will command you. Say it until your spirit catches fire. Say it until your fear bows down. Say it until the atmosphere shifts. Because when you open your mouth with power, you remind your soul who's in charge. Your mind might want to replay yesterday's failures. Your declaration is greater than your mistakes. Your body might feel tired, but your words will give you strength. Your circumstances might look impossible. Your confession makes room for breakthrough. This is not just about positive thinking. This is about spiritual alignment. The words you release into the morning create a path for your day to walk on. If you start with defeat, you'll stumble. But if you start with victory, you'll soar. Every morning is a gift. Every morning is a reset. Every morning is a chance to build momentum toward your destiny. Don't waste your morning in silence. Don't let your first words be complaints. Lift your head, square your shoulders, and speak power into your day. Every day begins with a choice. The moment your eyes open, before your feet even touch the floor, you have already stepped into the battlefield of your mind. The thoughts that rise in your head, the words that leave your mouth, and the spirit in which you begin will shape everything that follows. Too many people start their mornings in silence, allowing the weight of yesterday to dictate the possibilities of today. But the truth is this: your words are not just sounds that fill the air. They are declarations, commands, and blueprints. Your words shape your day. What you say in the morning is not casual, it is critical. When you speak life over yourself, you invite strength into your soul. When you declare victory, you prepare the atmosphere to align with your expectations. But when you rise and speak defeat, when you complain before you give thanks, when you allow negativity to slip off your tongue, you unconsciously invite struggle to become the soundtrack of your day. Life and death are in the power of the tongue, and too often we underestimate the weight of that truth. Think about it. How many times have you walked into a day already defeated because of the way you spoke to yourself? You muttered, "I'm so tired. I can't do this. Nothing ever works out for me. This day is going to be hard." And what happened? Your words created your experience. You stepped into the hours ahead carrying the burden of your own confession. Instead of opening the door to strength, you handed weakness the keys. Instead of creating room for solutions, you announced failure before the problem even appeared. But imagine if you shifted the script. Imagine if, instead of surrendering to complaints, you rose up in authority and declared, "This is the day I will see progress. This is the day I will walk with power. This is the day I will not be broken by stress, by fear, by challenges, or by setbacks. I may not come my way, but I control how I meet it. I will walk in victory today." You would feel your spirit rise. You would feel strength stirring in places where doubt used to live. Your words are seeds. Every sentence you plant grows into the fruit you will eat throughout the day. Plant bitterness in the morning, and you will taste anger all day long. Plant self-pity, and you will reap weakness. But if you plant gratitude, joy will spring up. If you plant courage, resilience will grow. If you plant hope, your vision will expand beyond the obstacles in front of you. You cannot plant weeds and expect roses. You cannot sow curses and expect blessings. What you declare will either limit you or launch you. So when you rise, you must rise with intention. You cannot afford to speak loosely in the morning. You must speak deliberately, powerfully, with authority. Your words carry weight. They are instructions to your own soul. When you tell yourself, "I am strong," your spirit adjusts. When you declare, "I will overcome," your faith awakens. When you say, "I am capable," your mind begins to search for strategies instead of excuses. What you say becomes the lens through which you see the world. Do not wait on someone else to affirm you. Do not depend on the applause of others to remind you of your worth. You may not hear encouragement from every direction, but you can speak it to yourself. You can look in the mirror and declare, I am blessed. I am chosen. I am enough. I am walking into this day with everything I need. And the more you say it, the more it becomes truth. Not because the words are magical, because they are powerful. They train your spirit. They reprogram your mind. They shift your perspective. When you walk into a meeting, your words prepare you. When you face conflict, your words stabilize you. When you battle disappointment, your words restore you. There will always be circumstances outside of your control, but your words are never outside of your control. You decide whether to build yourself up or tear yourself down. You decide whether to invite peace or invite chaos. And it begins with what you declare. Science agrees that words influence emotions, focus, and resilience, but deeper than science, there is a spiritual law at work. Words are creative forces. You confess, you construct. What you declare, you design. That is why you cannot afford to joke about your limitations, to curse your own potential, to casually speak fear. The enemy doesn't need to attack you when your own words are defeating you. Instead, speak light into your darkness. Speak order into your chaos. Speak clarity into your confusion. Speak peace into your storm. Your words are tools. Use them wisely. When your morning feels heavy, say, I choose joy today. When you wake up weary, say, I am stronger than what I feel. When you face uncertainty, say, I will not be shaken. I'm walking with wisdom. And watch how your words begin to turn the tide. You may not feel like it at first. You may say the words while your emotions lag behind. But keep speaking them until your emotions catch up. Keep declaring until your soul believes it. Keep confessing until your life reflects it. Your words are not wasted. They are working in silence, building a foundation under your feet, clearing a path in front of you, and strengthening the walls around you. So tomorrow morning when you wake up, do not let silence rob you. Not let complaining steal your power. Open your mouth and declare victory. Speak strength. Speak wisdom. Speak clarity. Speak favor. Because your words shape your day, and your day shapes your destiny. If you want to walk in power, start with your confession. If you want to see breakthrough, start with your declaration. Every sunrise is an invitation to speak life. Every morning is a chance to declare who you are and what you expect. Don't squander it. Don't whisper weakness. Don't rehearse failure. Command your morning. Command your atmosphere. Command your spirit. Because the one who controls their words controls their world. And if you dare to rise and speak with faith, you will discover that your words do not just shape your day, they shape your future. There is a power that lives inside of you, but too often it lies dormant, waiting for you to call it forth. Strength does not simply come from lifting heavy burdens or surviving difficult seasons. Strength is built in the quiet, consistent discipline of what you tell yourself. Every word you speak into your own soul is either a weight that drags you down or a force that lifts you higher. And that is why affirmations, those intentional declarations of truth, hope, and identity are not empty words. They are bricks that build resilience. They are anchors that hold you steady. They are fire that fuels your spirit. Affirmations build strength. Too many people underestimate the power of their voice. They think words are soft, powerless, just sounds that fade into the air. But words are builders. Words are shapers. Words create a framework for your life. Constantly tell yourself that you are weak. You will shrink into that weakness. If you keep declaring that you are unlucky, unworthy, or incapable, you will begin to live out that script. But when you stand in the mirror, even with trembling hands and a weary soul, and declare, I am strong, I am chosen, I am capable, I am enough, something begins to shift. The more you affirm it, the more you believe it. The more you believe it, the more you live it. The more you live it, the stronger you become. Strength is not the absence of struggle, it is the ability to rise through it. Affirmations train your inner voice to carry you through storms instead of sinking you beneath them. When you whisper courage into yourself, you remind your spirit that it was never created to collapse under pressure. When you affirm your worth, you resist the temptation to bow to the opinions of others. When you declare your resilience, you find yourself standing in situations that once would have knocked you flat. Affirmations are not about pretending life is easy. They are about preparing yourself to endure when life is hard. Some people hear the word affirmations and dismiss it as wishful thinking. But affirmations are not wishes, they are weapons. They are the swords you carry into battle against self-doubt, fear, and negativity. Every time you affirm truth over your life, you sharpen that sword. When insecurity tries to whisper, you fight back with declaration. When anxiety rises, you answer with faith-filled words. When defeat tries to sit on your chest, you lift your head and proclaim victory. Affirmations are not weak. They are war cries for the soul. And here's the truth: strength is built by repetition. You don't become strong by lifting a weight once. You build strength by lifting it daily. The same is true with affirmations. Saying it once is not enough. You must keep declaring until your heart believes it. You must keep speaking until your mind aligns. You must keep repeating until it becomes second nature. First, it may feel uncomfortable. At first, you may even feel like you are lying to yourself. Affirmations are not lies. They are truth spoken louder than the lies you've believed. With time, your soul begins to catch fire, and you realize you are not speaking empty words. You are speaking the very essence of your strength into existence. Affirmations do something deeper than encourage. They rewire. They shift your perspective. They break mental cycles. They silence the old, destructive voices that told you, "You can't, you're not enough, you'll never make it." Affirmations replace those voices with power, clarity with conviction. They begin to condition your spirit for endurance. So when challenges come, your default is not despair. It is determination. When doors close, your response is not collapse, it is courage. When people walk away, your strength does not fade, it deepens. Affirmations build a foundation so steady that storms cannot wash it away. Think of the times when you felt weakest, those days when nothing seemed to go right, when the weight of life pressed heavy on your shoulders. What carried you through? It wasn't simply your circumstances changing. It was the voice inside of you, even faintly saying, "Keep going, don't give up. You are stronger than this." That is affirmation. That is the seed of strength growing within you. And when you learn to water that seed intentionally, when you choose daily to affirm who you are and what you can overcome, you cultivate a harvest of resilience that nothing can take away. Affirmations build strength not only in the moment, but for the future. They prepare you for battles you haven't even faced yet. They fortify you against doubts that haven't yet arrived. They become a shield for your mind when discouragement tries to attack. When you practice affirming truth over yourself, you don't just build strength for today, you invest in strength for tomorrow. You are creating a reservoir of power you can draw from when life hits hard. Let's be clear, affirmation is not arrogance. Affirmation is not self-deception. Affirmation is alignment. It is aligning your words with the truth that has always been within you. It is choosing to agree with your potential rather than your fear. It is standing in agreement with your growth rather than your failures. Affirmation is humility because it acknowledges that you are more than your mistakes, more than your struggles, more than your limitations. It acknowledges that there is a strength in you waiting to be spoken into activation. So the next time you feel weak, do not surrender to silence. Open your mouth and speak. Tell yourself you are stronger than the storm. Tell yourself you are wiser than your past. Tell yourself you are capable of rising again. Speak it until you feel it. Declare it until you see it. Affirm it until you become it. Because affirmation is not a trick, it is transformation. Your strength is not built in the absence of words. It is built in the presence of the right words. You may not control the challenges you face, but you can control the narrative you speak into them. When you choose to affirm truth, courage, resilience, and hope, you are not just encouraging yourself, you are building yourself. You are creating a fortress inside that no trial can topple. Affirmations build strength because they shape your identity, they fuel your endurance, they prepare your spirit for victory. So rise every morning, not with silence, but with declaration. Throughout the day, not with complaints, but with confession. Before you sleep, not with fear, but with faith. And let those affirmations become the rhythm of your life, foundation of your strength, and the anthem of your destiny. One of the greatest traps that steals joy, delays growth, and robs destiny is the need for validation from others. Too many lives are paralyzed because people are waiting for someone else to approve of their dreams, their identity, or their calling. They stand still, holding back their potential, waiting for applause that never comes. They silence their own voices because someone else hasn't cheered them on. They hide their gifts because no one has affirmed them yet. But hear this truth clearly: if you wait for outside validation, you will miss the purpose that has already been written into your life. The world is filled with voices, and not all of them will applaud you. Some will criticize. Some will misunderstand. Some will ignore you altogether. If you measure your worth by their approval, you will ride a roller coaster of insecurity. One moment you'll feel valuable because someone clapped for you. The next moment you'll feel invisible because no one noticed. That is no way to live. You were not created to exist on borrowed affirmation. You were created to walk in confidence whether or not the crowd claps for you. Validation from others is fleeting. People will celebrate you today and forget you tomorrow. They will praise you when you succeed and disappear when you struggle. If your strength is built on their applause, then your strength will always collapse when the applause fades. But when your strength is built on conviction, when your identity is rooted deep within, you can stand tall even in silence. You don't need someone else to say, "I see you." You need to say to yourself, "I know who I am whether you see me or not." Think of how many dreams have died waiting for validation. How many books were never written because someone said, "Nobody will read that." How many businesses were never launched because someone laughed at the idea? How many talents were buried because someone doubted them? If you live by the voice of others, you will die by the silence of others. You cannot afford to wait for outside validation. The truth is, some people will never validate you. Not because you aren't worthy, because they cannot see what you carry. They don't have the eyes to recognize the treasure in you. They may be blinded by their own insecurity. They may be threatened by your potential. They may simply be too distracted to notice. But their blindness does not cancel your brilliance. Their silence does not silence your gift. Their doubt does not diminish your destiny. I will no longer wait on permission to become who I was created to be. I will no longer pause my life until others cheer for me. I will no longer shrink myself because others do not see me. Your worth is not measured by their applause. Your purpose is not activated by their approval. Your assignment does not require their permission. When you wait for outside validation, you hand your power to people who may not even value it. You place your future in the hands of those who may not care about your journey. You delay your own progress because you are waiting for someone else's words to give you permission to move forward. But freedom comes when you realize you don't need their validation. You don't need their applause. You don't need their agreement. What you need is the courage to believe in yourself when nobody else does. Even history proves this. Every great leader, every visionary, every pioneer carried a dream that was too big for others to validate. People doubted them, mocked them, resisted them. If they had waited for permission, the world would have never seen their impact. They moved forward without applause. They pushed through without consensus. They chose purpose over popularity, conviction over compliments, destiny over validation. So what about you? How much longer will you wait for people to recognize what's already inside of you? How much longer will you delay because you're waiting for encouragement that may never come? How much longer will you let their silence convince you that you have nothing to offer? The world does not need you to wait. The world needs you to rise. The world needs your voice, your gift, your vision, your contribution. And it cannot wait until others catch up to who you already are. People may not validate you, but results will if you keep showing up, if you keep pressing forward, if you keep believing in your gift. Eventually the evidence will silence the doubt. But you can't wait for the applause before you move. You must move before the applause. The applause will come It is not your fuel. Conviction is your fuel. Faith is your fuel. Vision is your fuel. Don't waste years waiting for someone to tell you you're good enough. Don't waste energy trying to earn validation from people who are too broken to even validate themselves. Don't exhaust your life trying to prove your worth to those who will never see it. Choose today to step into your purpose without apology, without hesitation, without needing permission. Most powerful people are not the ones who have the loudest cheerleaders. They are the ones who have learned to cheer for themselves. They have learned to affirm their own journey, to celebrate their own progress, to believe in their own potential. They are not arrogant. They are secure. They are not boastful. They are confident. They know that waiting for outside validation is a prison and walking in self-belief is freedom. So lift your head, square your shoulders, and remind yourself, I don't need outside approval to walk in my calling. I don't need applause to know I am valuable. Need validation to know that I am chosen, equipped, and enough. The voice inside, you must grow louder than the voices around you. And when it does, you will find a strength that cannot be shaken by silence, criticism, or doubt. Negativity is loud. It screams from the news. It echoes from social media. It whispers in your mind when you least expect it. It shows up in the voices of people who don't believe in you, in the doubts that haunt you, and in the shadows of your past failures. If you are not careful, negativity can become the soundtrack of your life. But there is a weapon that cuts through its noise, a weapon that changes the atmosphere, a weapon that silences the lies. Weapon is the power of your declarations. Declarations silence negativity. Negativity thrives in silence. If you do not confront it, it grows. If you allow it to sit unchallenged, it becomes a story you tell yourself. You begin to believe the lie that you are not enough, that you will never overcome, that you are destined to fail. But when you rise and open your mouth, when you declare truth with boldness, negativity loses its power. Declarations are not just words, they are spiritual commands. They are authoritative reminders of who you are and what you carry. When you declare, you shift the atmosphere. Think of negativity as a storm cloud hovering over your life. You can sit quietly and hope it passes, or you can speak light into that darkness. A declaration is light. It pierces through the heaviness. It says, I will not be defined by fear. I will not bow to doubt. I will not live under the shadow of defeat. Every time you declare truth, you silence the storm of negativity. You cut through the noise and create clarity where there was confusion. Negativity doesn't always come from the outside. Some of the loudest negativity lives within. It's the voice of past mistakes reminding you of your failures. It's the echo of shame that tells you you're not worthy. It's the internal critic that compares you to others and convinces you that you'll never measure up. That inner voice can be relentless. Declarations are how you fight back. When negativity tells you you are weak, you declare, I am strong. When it says, you will fail again, you declare, I am more than a conqueror. When it whispers, you are alone, you declare, I am never forsaken. Declarations break the grip of that inner critic and replace it with truth. Your declarations are not empty affirmations. They are grounded in conviction. They are not wishful thinking. They are intentional alignment with strength, purpose, and destiny. When you declare, you are not speaking into thin air. You are speaking into your future. You are setting the tone for your mind, your spirit, and your actions. And in that process, negativity has no choice but to go silent because light and darkness cannot coexist. It's important to understand that negativity will always try to return. Just because you silenced it once does not mean it won't attempt to rise again. That's why declarations are not a one-time act, but a daily discipline. Every morning when you wake up, negativity will try to remind you of what you're not. That's why you must begin the day with declarations of who you are. Every time you face opposition, negativity will try to wear you down. That's why you must speak strength into yourself in the middle of the storm. Every time you step into something new, negativity will tell you that you're not qualified. That's why you must declare, I am equipped, I am ready, I will not be stopped. Declarations do not just silence negativity, they reprogram your perspective. They teach your mind to expect victory rather than defeat, progress rather than stagnation, and hope rather than despair. When you keep declaring, you begin to notice that negativity has less room to operate. It may knock on the door, but you no longer invite it in. It may whisper, but you no longer listen, because your declarations have trained your spirit to recognize the lie and reject it. Too many people allow negativity to speak louder than their own voice. They allow critics, doubters, and circumstances to define them. But declarations flip the script. Declarations remind you that your voice carries authority, that your words hold power, and that your future does not belong to the lies around you. When you declare with conviction, you tell negativity, you cannot live here anymore. Even in the darkest moments, declarations create light. Even in the hardest battles, declarations give strength. Even in the loneliest seasons, declarations provide comfort. They may not change every circumstance instantly, but they change you. And when you change, the way you face the circumstance changes. That is why declarations are not optional. They are essential. They are your defense against the constant attack of negativity. A seed cannot grow without soil, water, and sunlight. Negativity is the opposite. It cannot grow without silence. If you never confront it, it multiplies. But when you declare truth, you remove the soil it needs to survive. You strip it of its strength. You starve it until it shrivels away. That is why people who practice declarations walk with a different kind of confidence. They are not immune to negativity, but they are no longer bound by it. They know how to silence it. There is a reason why the most powerful voices in history were people who declared boldly even when negativity surrounded them. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't allow criticism to control them. They spoke their truth with conviction, and in doing so, they shifted their world. You have that same ability. You don't need to wait for the negativity around you to disappear before you move forward. You need to open your mouth and declare until the negativity disappears. So when negativity tells you that your dream is too big, declare that nothing is impossible. When negativity tells you that you are too broken, declare that you are being restored. Negativity tells you that you will never rise, declare that you are already rising. Your declarations are stronger than the noise. Your voice carries the authority to silence every lie. Negativity will not stop coming, but it will stop controlling you when you learn the discipline of declaration. And every time you declare, you grow stronger. Every time you declare, your faith deepens. Every time you declare, your future becomes clearer. Declarations silence negativity because they remind you that your voice, your identity, your destiny are louder than any lie that tries to define you. Don't sit in silence when fear shouts. Don't let doubt echo in your head unchecked. Open your mouth, declare with power, declare with conviction. Declare until the atmosphere shifts. Declare until your spirit is lifted. Declare until negativity is silenced, because declarations are not just words, they are weapons. They are your defense, your offense, and your shield. When you learn to use them, negativity loses its hold. You were not created to live under the weight of doubt, fear, and criticism. You were created to silence them with the truth you declare. So rise, speak, and let your declarations drown out every negative voice until only power, courage, victory remain. Every sunrise carries a message, and if you are quiet enough to notice it, the message is clear. You get to start again. Each morning is a new beginning. Yesterday's mistakes are not permanent. Yesterday's failures do not define you. Yesterday's pain does not have the authority to cancel today's promise. The rising sun is proof that no matter what happened in the darkness, the light still returns. Each day is a gift, a reset, a reminder that life has not given up on you. Too often we drag yesterday into today. We carry the weight of what went wrong, the guilt of what we said, the shame of what we did, and the disappointment of what didn't work out. We allow the echoes of yesterday to shape the possibilities of today. But hear me, today is not yesterday. Today is fresh. Today is unwritten. Today is filled with opportunities waiting for you to seize them. Each morning you wake up is evidence that you still have purpose. The beauty of a new beginning is that it does not erase your past, but it gives you power over it. You cannot change what has already been lived. You can decide what happens next. You can choose to stay chained to regrets, or you can choose to rise and walk into the possibilities of a new day. Each morning is a second chance, and some mornings it is the 1,000th chance, but it is still a chance. That means you are not finished. That means your story is still being written. That means your future is still alive. Think about how many people did not see this morning. Think about how many voices went silent yesterday, how many dreams were buried, how many opportunities ended. Yet you are still here. That breath in your lungs is proof that life has extended mercy to you. And if life has given you another morning, it is not by accident. There is something in you still to be done, something in you still to be revealed, something in you still to be lived. Each morning whispers a question. What will you do with me? Will you waste me repeating the failures of yesterday, or will you embrace me as a doorway into something new? The tragedy of life is not failure, it is failing to begin again. Some people stop living long before they stop breathing because they gave yesterday too much power. But each morning, the universe places the pen back in your hand and says, "Write again." Your morning is not just the start of a day. It is a reset for your mind. It is an opportunity to renew your focus, to shift your perspective, and to decide how you will face what comes. If you wake up in defeat, you will walk in defeat. If you wake up rehearsing the pain, you will live in pain. But if you wake up declaring, "This is a new beginning, and I will walk in it," then you prepare yourself for growth, for joy, for opportunity. The morning is not simply about time, it is about transformation. Even nature teaches us this truth. The night always ends. No matter how long or how dark, the night must bow to the morning. Your night seasons, the struggles, failures, the heartbreaks do not last forever. Morning always comes, and with it, the chance to rise again, to try again, to believe again. That is the rhythm of life. That is the mercy of the new beginning. You may have failed yesterday, but you are not a failure today. You may have stumbled yesterday, but today you can walk again. You may have been rejected yesterday, but today new doors can open. You may have cried yourself to sleep last night, but today you can rise with hope. Each morning invites you to stop looking backward and start looking forward. It calls you to let go of what cannot be undone and embrace what can still be created. Too many people underestimate the value of a morning. They rush past it, distracted by routines, overwhelmed by responsibilities, and consumed by business. But mornings are sacred. They are not just the beginning of a schedule. They are the beginning of a mindset. How you greet the morning determines how you will live the day. If you rise with gratitude, you will carry strength. If you rise with bitterness, you will carry heaviness. If you rise with expectation, you will see opportunities others miss. Each morning is not just time on a clock. It is a mirror of your attitude. You cannot stop the sun from rising, but you can choose how you rise with it. You can rise defeated, or you can rise determined. You can rise angry, or you can rise grateful. You can rise hesitant, or you can rise bold. Each morning does not just give you a new beginning, it gives you a choice. And the choice you make at the start echoes throughout the day. Think of a seed planted in the ground. It spends time hidden in the dark. But the moment it begins to break the soil, it greets the morning with new life. Each day, it grows higher because the morning gives it light. You are no different. Even if you've been buried under mistakes, pain, or delay, the morning calls you to rise again, to stretch toward the light again, to grow again. And yes, new beginnings can be scary. Starting again requires courage. It means stepping away from comfort zones, letting go of old habits, and daring to believe that better is possible. That is why each morning is a gift. It gives you daily practice and courage. It gives you the chance to say, yesterday does not own me. Today I choose again. There will always be people who try to remind you of yesterday. They will replay your mistakes, bring up your failures, anchor you to your past. But you must remind yourself that each morning is yours, not theirs. They do not get to decide what today will be for you. You decide. Your declaration is stronger than their doubt. Your decision is greater than their criticism. Each morning belongs to you, and you alone get to choose how to live it. So when the sun rises tomorrow, don't drag the weight of yesterday with you. Wake up and tell yourself, today is my new beginning. Today I will not be chained to the past. Today I will walk in freedom, in purpose, in possibility. Live the morning as if it were the first day of your life, because in a way it is. Yesterday is gone forever. Today is the only day you truly have. Each morning is a fresh canvas. You can paint it with gratitude, with courage, with progress, with love. Or you can let it stay blank, wasted by regret and hesitation. The choice is always yours. But if you dare to embrace the newness of the morning, if you dare to rise with hope and expectation, you will discover that your life does not have to be defined by what was, but by what is and what can be. Failure is final as long as morning comes. No mistake is permanent as long as morning rises. No ending is absolute as long as you are given another sunrise. Each morning is a declaration from life itself that you still matter, you still have purpose, you still have more to give and more to become. So do not waste it. Do not sleepwalk through it. Do not ignore the gift of beginning again. Rise with gratitude, rise with courage, rise with expectation. Because each morning is not just another day, it is a new beginning and it belongs to you.